Well, hello everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our webinar on how to tackle the Wharton essay. We have a special guest here who knows all about admissions at Wharton because at one time she ran the show there. Judith Silverman Hodera is a co-founder of Fortuna Admissions, worked for many years at Wharton and reviewed thousands of applicants and
Thousands. Yep.
read so many essays over the years, interviewed so many candidates. And she's with Fortuna, which is a dream team of former admissions gatekeepers from the world's top business schools. Fortuna has helped thousands of Poets and Quants readers gain a spot at their dream MBA programs, and this is one of them. So, Judith, welcome.
Thank you so much. I love being here. I love having the opportunity to talk with you. And I'm delighted to have the chance to chat a little bit today about the Wharton application.
So let's go top line first. What is Wharton
Sure.
really looking for to begin with?
So Wharton has really been digging into professional goals and fit with collaboration and culture. And I think, in the days since I've been at Wharton, that's really been a hallmark of the program. As your listeners and readers and viewers will understand, Wharton does have a learning team and a cohort system and an opportunity for students really to get to know each other. Because otherwise, it's a group of about 830, 840 students, and they work very collaboratively in getting those teams to understand each other. So without a doubt, the admissions team is looking for career objectives, why you want to get an MBA, and really why Wharton is the right place for you. And I can't underscore this enough. I know that you're going to be talking to some of my colleagues today, John, from Fortuna, about other programs. And Wharton is one of those programs that really wants to understand how you know the school, why it is that you see yourself there. So without a doubt, they're looking for you, not surprisingly, to be able to talk about your leadership, your teamwork, and also how all that fits in with the Wharton community.
But let's zero in on the actual essay prompts this year at Wharton. The first question is, how do you plan to use the Wharton MBA program to help you achieve your future professional goals? So here they're looking at,
Yeah.
okay, what do you hope to get out of this, right?
Exactly. And it is a fairly straightforward question. But the secret is with Wharton is to kind of figure out how to use all of these different prompts to get really robust information across to the admissions committees. So you're going to start by very clearly outlining your short and your long-term goals, being incredibly specific about the role or the industry that you're looking at and why it matters, right? So you want to show this progression. I've been doing X, I want to do Y, and this is why I'm drawn to Y, and this is how I envision getting there. You really then want to deep dive into, I'm doing a lot of hand motions today, but it's really, to me, it's very evident you want to dive really far into Wharton's offerings, be
Mhm.
super specific. But John, the important thing is not to just list, as we call it, the laundry list of the courses that you might want to take. You want to perhaps say, hey, I want to take this class, but I'm really interested in doing research with this faculty member. These are the organizations that I would like to get involved with and lead. And what are the experiential learning opportunities that you might want to take advantage of? So to me, Wharton is looking for you to almost do like a five-finger basketball hold on it and wrap your hands around the school and understand just how that then allows you to really grow as an individual at the program. And I know, having read so many essays for our own students this year, it is really tempting just to list, and list. But that list, without it really resonating with who you are as a person, doesn't have nearly that kind of enough of a deep impact.
The second question kind of gets into the fact that they're really looking for people who give back, not merely
Right.
take. So it's asked, how will you contribute to Wharton's community?
And again, a lot of these questions are showing you just what Wharton cares about. Wharton really wants to know that you want to be there and that you're not just tending to go to classes, do your homework with your team, and then get out of there, right? You want to be deeply involved. So talk about what makes you interesting. Talk about your skills and your experiences and your perspectives. What have you done professionally or personally? How has being a marathon runner taught you to look at the world a little differently? How has extensive care of a family member, for example, taught you about empathy and compassion? How has running big deals, small deals, mentoring, everything you can imagine. You'll see that I'm talking about very different parts of somebody's life, but how have all of these things helped you to get to be who you are? And then
Mm,
how are you going to then translate that to Wharton? So
right.
are you gonna, you know, are you going to start a run club for younger students? Are you going to figure out how to really do deeper outreach to the community? Are you going to help first year students maybe get used to what the case study method is all about if they're going up for consulting interviews? So you really want to highlight, once again, very specific ways that you want to engage, and how you're going to drive initiatives that really connect with your interests and skills. So you'll notice a theme as we're talking, John. It's not just about this, and this, but it's that connection that you're going to make between who you are, what Wharton offers, and then how those connect very specifically.
Yeah, that makes sense totally. Now, obviously, there are word limits on each of these prompts.
Yes, there
And so
are.
my question to you is how specific can an applicant be given the limited amount of time, space they have to actually answer an essay?
Right. Well, I think that you want to, keep that in mind that you're certainly going to be working on at least one example, possibly two examples per essay that you're going to want to share, with with your reader. I want to make it clear that those details are the things that are going to make you stand out from anybody else from your industry, from anybody else, with your perspective in theory. So if you're coming from like a banking background, like use things that you've done that are going to highlight the ways that you've been able to impact organizations or, extracurricularly as well. So I think that you want to avoid being vague. You want to really show that very strong sense of purpose and allow the reader to really be with you, right? You don't want them kind of figuring out, well, what do they mean by that, right? So I think even with the word limit, and we know that they're strict, that you can give them enough to go on so that they really understand what your perspective is throughout the application process.
And I guess by being specific, you're helping them remember you because
That's
you're in a
yeah,
sea of
you
applications.
are. And you want to be that person that people are chatting about in the hallway, the admissions team. It helps the admissions readers who are then on the committee talking
Mm.
about your candidacy say, oh, you remember the person who? How about that guy or girl who? And so those instances are the ones that really do help you stand out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the last sentence of your essay or your first essay, the first sentence, but it should be something that the reader can come away with and be able to really dig down and how they're going to be able to support you in the admissions committee. Because don't forget, all these admissions committees do have candidates that they're advocating for throughout the
Hmm.
process, and you want to be able to give them enough to chew on so that they can pound the table for you when the time comes.
Now, of course, a key element of all this is fit.
Yes.
I wonder how an applicant can convey fit with Wharton's culture.
Really, really strong, specific examples of leadership and teamwork and how you've contributed to a group. One thing that our candidates, and I know this from both sides of the table, sometimes struggle with can be questions like, I've never been the head of a group. I've never led an organization. I don't know how to talk about this, or what I do is super informal on the weekends. But if you've ever, informally mentored somebody, or you've worked on a group where you came up with an idea and you were involved in the collaboration that somehow got it to come to fruition, all these different ways of growth are the things that you're going to want to share within the context of the application process. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like out leading the charge, but it might
Hmm.
be a way that you've really influenced others, supported others, and brought them with you for a specific journey or a task or a project. And those are the things that the readers really can, again, we're looking for ways to kind of get those readers on your side and things that they can really sink their teeth into. And that I will pull that out as something that repeatedly students say, well, I don't work for a huge firm, or I haven't had a leadership position, or, I'm coming from a different industry. How do I make this work? And I say, just be reflective about the people, the things that you've done. You've been, let's just say you went to university and then you've had a career. Like what are the ways that you've interacted with people around you? And we're really usually able to find good examples, coming out of that discussion.
So, Judith, we focused on what candidates should do. What shouldn't they do? What are the most common mistakes candidates make at Wharton?
Right. right. Well, you'll sense a theme with me today, John. It is please be detailed, do not be generic. Don't talk about, this is why I could go to school X. Wharton really wants to be your first choice, right? So you want to understand the program. As I say over and over and again, you should not be able to send that essay to any other school that you're applying to, right? It should not be a Mad Libs. For those of you that remember Mad Libs, which were my favorite game as a kid, or fill in the blank, you want to be specific with every single piece. So, no joke, look at every piece of every word that you've written and make sure that it resonates for who you are as a person, what your goals are, and then how it fits with Wharton. And you really should be able to do that with all of the sentences that you write for the Wharton application. Again, talking about resources and connections, how do those align with your goals? You don't want to just participate in things, quote unquote. You want to
Mm.
talk about, like, this is what I'm bringing to the table. And I might not be the president of something, but this is how I intend to contribute. So, it's really very, for me, at least for Wharton, it's very iterative in that all of the ways that you're going to impact that community should be seen throughout your entire application package.
Of course, people who apply to a school like Wharton, it's a self-selecting group of people. They're all or almost all really competitive, terrific, smart,
Yep.
ambitious. Uh, Probably, and I'm guessing here, but you can tell me 80% of the applicant pool
Mhm.
would be qualified to get in and do exceptionally well. And since only a quarter or less of that 80% is going to get in, um, the odds are against you right from day one. So how do you stand out in a pool of exceptional candidates at Wharton?
Been talking a lot about clarity, and without a doubt, authenticity is also such an important part of this conversation.
Mm.
Being really clear about what your motivations are and why the Wharton program is specifically good for you. Everybody has a story to tell, right? And so it's allowing yourself to recognize that you don't have to be imperfect, that failing is always, something that brings personal growth and self-awareness. And those are perspectives that you want to bring to the table. So I'm afraid sometimes when I talk to students and they say, well, sophomore year at college wasn't that great, or I don't really have anything to talk about. I don't do anything outside of work. And I really encourage them to take a minute and look at the fact that how they've grown or how they've contributed or what is it that they envision doing. You don't enter into the application pool at any of these M7 schools because you think you're not good enough, right? So a lot of the conversation is about pulling out those pieces that really help you to stand out. And that is happening by being authentic and being true to your own story. So I really want to underscore that it is not perfection that these schools are looking for, but they are looking to know who are you and how did you get here. That for me is the joy of what we do, is really helping our students to uncover that very truth that lies within them.
So how can candidates reach you or find out more?
Sure. We love talking to students. I do half-hour free consultations. Some have told us they're the best in the business. It's a little bit like therapy, a little bit about applying to business school. Um, my first question is usually like, well, what keeps you up at night? And you trust me, John, I get a lot of really interesting answers.
Oh,
But
I can imagine.
we want to help students really feel positive and secure in going through this process, because the process is worth almost as much as eventually entering into a business program. FortunaAdmissions.com. You can sign up for a free half-hour consultation. I do them a lot this time of year. I would love to chat with you. We'll match you with a member of our team to see if it's a fit, and would love to have the opportunity to learn about who you are and how we can support you in your MBA journey. I love the opportunity to talk with you today, John, and thank you so much for having me.
Been all my pleasure, really, Judith. Always good to see you.
Likewise.
So, for all of you out there, you know now how to tackle the Wharton essay questions and the entire application. Don't hesitate to reach out to Judith at Fortuna Admissions or a member of her team for help. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for watching.